Oh, hello there. Today I would like to record a short video about one topic that I find confusing for many new Super Dwarf Retic keepers, which is pushing. Some Retics are notorious for their pushing capabilities. If you're a fresh keeper and you go to the main Retic forum or discussion groups, you will often hear that the way to prevent that is to feed them. However, that brings one problem, because these guys, they come from small islands where there is a limited amount of food that they can take. Therefore, their bodies are adapted to grow smaller, and therefore feeding them um, on a schedule, when you feed them more and more, it brings that risk of them becoming a bit pudgy and obese. Eventually, you end up having a large snake, a miserable snake with a lot of health problems, and what you really want is that athletic kind of a snake, that can climb and be happy, etc. So, putting it in a food coma is a way to stop a retic from pushing, but it's not definitely a healthy way of doing that. Therefore, what I suggest is something different. And my Retic used to be a notorious pusher. Before I moved him to this cage, he had spent a lot of time in a small glass terrarium that I built for him, and he would have a nice shelf over there, two heating systems, one from the bottom, one from the top. Yet every couple of days after after he had been fed, he would just push on the front of the enclosure, and there was just very I felt that there was just so little like I could do at that time. But I experimented with a couple of things that brought me some good results. First of all, look at your temperature. If your enclosure is above 33 degrees with 27 degrees centigrade uh, um, in a colder spot, then there is a high risk that your retic will not feel comfortable over there. In fact, I was actually blown away by the fact that I found them digest in almost an ambient temperature. So I mean like something around 25 or 26 or even less degrees Celsius. This is crazy. And they used to digest all the time in that kind of temperature, only getting from time to time to the top, getting some heat, etc. So really giving your retic a choice is already a good thing for it to stop pushing, because your animal might simply be too hot. And another thing that I did was that I placed this root in his former enclosure, and I added a lot of curled paper balls inside, for the retic to move around, to dig in, and to be occupied with something. And I saw that changing his attention to something different than a glass enclosure can already be a great factor, limiting its pushing. So of course, once that I move him to this cage, which some of you might think it's a bit oversized for that particular animal, but as you can see, the glass is open. I'm just waving my phone in front of its head, and it is unbothered. It's breathing smoothly and steadily. It's not stressed. It's just investigating, like, what is that big guy doing over there. He stopped pushing at all. I mean, he doesn't do that anymore. But what in case that you have a rack system, or you have a limited space at your house, and you want your animal to stop pushing? Definitely think about first dropping your temperature, and then create some enrichment. I am pretty sure that this way you can achieve the same thing uh, without really having to push your animal to that unhealthy calorie intake limit, and have a very healthy and nice snake. So thank you very much for watching, and I invite you to the next video. Bye.